Good morning, Birdland. I have to say, I am loving what the Orioles are doing so far this year. I'm enjoying watching this team. I really believe they are one of the better teams in the American League. But a lot of things have me very concerned in the last 7 to 10 days. Starting pitching is not up to par. Kyle Gibson is what he is. I said it when we got him. He's the guy that's going to go out there and look like one of the aces of the American League a small handful of times. He's a guy that's going to go out of there and a handful of times look like he doesn't even belong in the majors. And oftentimes with Kyle Gibson, there's very little in between. Uh, he is a middle of the road, probably on most competitive teams, number three starter. Uh, Hopefully, we can get more of the good Kyle Gibson than we have the bad. I can't really complain about him all that much. Then you turn the page to Cole Irvin. Cole Irvin has definitely not been what we traded for. We obviously traded for this guy because we thought close to 200 innings, close to 6 innings, most times out there. I don't know that he has he gone 6 innings in any of his starts? He may have been one or two. I don't know. I know he hasn't even started all that much for the team. Um, but he just has not looked like the same guy that Oakland had the last few years, which doesn't make much sense because he's got a good team behind him. I don't know whether it's just he's not trusting his stuff. He just, hopefully, he can turn it around, which brings me to Grayson Rodriguez. Um, I see he's dominating in the minors again. Uh, Clearly, that hasn't really translated to his short time in the big leagues. I do think that his time in the big leagues is not reflective of the type of pitcher he is, given the short amount of time he was in the big leagues. Um, I have gone on social media and said he looks like a 4A ball player at times. And for those of you that aren't aware of what that saying 4A ball player means, too good for the minors, just not good enough to be in the majors. Um, Dylan Bundy to me was a perfect example of a 4A ball player. Uh, Great in the minors, not so good in the majors. I hope and pray that I the assessment on Grayson Rodriguez is wrong. I would love to be proven wrong. I would have no problem with comments filling this video telling me how wrong I am about Grayson Rodriguez. But I don't think we're completely there yet, where we can say he is a 4A ball player. Um, One thing I have addressed several times in YouTube Shorts, but I want to address it in a little bit of long form. I don't understand the social media hate for Adam Frazier. The guy comes up clutch. He is a very reliable glove. He's a guy that could play multiple positions throughout the infield and even the outfield. The only thing that a guy like Jorge Mateo has on Adam Frazier is the speed. And if you ask me, when you look at the fact that Jordan Westburg was called up and he has played great, but if you ask me who Westburg should be replacing, it's not Adam Frazier, it's Jorge Mateo. I would, I understand that Frazier only has a 1 year deal, but I would be looking for Westberg to replace Mateo more than Frazier. Now that being said, I have been an Adam Frazier fan for years, going back to his Padre days when he made the All Star team. You know, would I love to see him hitting for a higher average? I'd love to see half the league hitting for a higher average. I grew up in a time in baseball in the mid to late 80s, definitely in the 90s when I was a teenager, where if you were hitting 240, 250, you very well could have been in AAA. Now, if you hit 250, you could be an all star. Maybe not an all star, but it's more acceptable now because too many players don't, put the team first, and they're swinging for the fences all the time and they're striking out. It's the three true outcome of baseball, and I have never been able to stand the three true outcomes of baseball. I think they ruin the game. You get two strikes, put the bat on the ball, try to advance a runner, try to get a sac fly, put the team first. That said, other than Grayson Rodriguez and Colton Cowser, but here's the thing with Colton Cowser. Where do you play him? You're not taking Austin Hayes out of the outfield. He's second in the American League in batting. Cedric Mullins is arguably our first or second best player, depending on how you feel about Adley Rushman. And Anthony Santander has played really well this season. So if you call up Cowser, where do you play him? Because you can't call up these top prospects and only having them play 3 or 4 days a week and having them on the bench the other times. You need to let them play. You need to let them get exposure, get at bats, so they can get used to the big league game. So for all these people that say, call up all these players right now, get these reinforcements, who are you replacing them with? And how are you getting them playing time? I'm not saying that these call-ups shouldn't happen. I'm just curious, who are you replacing them with? Tell me that. Let me know that. With that being said, I'm going to do more of these. I want to keep this one short. Have a great rest of your day. Let's go Orioles. Let's at least take 2 out of 3 from the Twins. Have a great weekend, everybody. And have a great holiday on the 4th of July.